Greetings auditors. In this video, we will show you how to use POImapper for supplier audits. We will use a sample supplier audit form. Each organization typically has its supplier audit form in Excel or Word format. These audit forms can be converted to a POImapper form using our form builder. How to use the form builder is shown in separate tutorial videos. In this tutorial, we focus on using a sample audit template. Before watching this video tutorial, we recommend you watch the General Data Viewer introduction video. The link is in the description below. To organize the audits according to suppliers and their sites, we recommend a supplier hierarchy is defined using the hierarchy editor. An admin or modeler user should configure the hierarchy. Here, we assume that a suitable hierarchy has been defined. We will simply use a hierarchy where the suppliers are defined as Supplier A, Supplier B, Supplier C, and Supplier D. Typically, the background data is entered into the audit form before doing the actual supplier audit. To do this, click on the Add button. We select the available template from the drop-down and add the supplier and site. The audit can be scheduled if the scheduled feature has been activated for the audit form. The scheduling can also be done later in the schedule view. After background information, the audit section begins with product design. To access fields in this section, first select if the topic is applicable. By default, the question response has been defined as applicable. Below the selection, the summary calculation for the questions of the topic is shown, the number of corrective actions, improvements required, and recommendations, as well as the overall performance percentage. Each audit question is organized into a subform with an identical structure for each question. Click on the first one and select if the specific question is applicable. If the question is applicable, giving the score is mandatory. By default, the score is 3. In a real case, you would want to have detailed criteria defined for each score level. The detailed criteria can be maintained in a separate file that is then attached to the form. When opening the form, the question-specific criteria are retrieved from the file and displayed to guide the auditor when giving the score. After the score is given, comments and evidence, such as images or documents, can be added. In the question form, further fields, such as deviation and proposed actions, are shown if the score is not 3. The audit then consists of selecting which topics are applicable, and which questions per topic apply to the supplier being audited, giving scores, and comments, and noting deviations when relevant. Once the audit questions have been reviewed, all the findings are automatically summarized in the action plan table. The action plan table can be customized according to each company's needs, but the custom fields shown must be available in the question subform so that they can be retrieved and summarized. In addition, generic columns such as action status, action, plan date, and closure date are shown. It would be possible to enable the user to assign tasks if the score is unsatisfactory. However, when doing supplier audits, it is usually better to summarize all the findings into an action table. We can then submit the whole table for actions to the supplier instead of sending several separate tasks. With the Transmit button, the audit form, including the action table, is shared with the selected supplier representative. If the representative has not been defined as a user of POImapper, the email address is registered, and a new user is created with access until the access date passes. The supplier user will get an email with a link to the audit form. When clicking the link, the page containing the action table will be opened to enable the user to enter the actions, plan, and plan date of completion of the action. The user will not see any other data in the account, only the assigned audit. The auditor can restrict which data is visible to the supplier based on the visibility conditions per each field in the audit. For instance, the overall score and conclusions may be hidden from the supplier if desired. On the first page of the sample form, the total generic process CIR and car count is shown, as well as the total generic process performance indicator. A company-specific ranking logic may also be defined based on these or other desired parameters. For instance, in the sample form, if the PI is less than 60 or there are more than 2 corrective actions required, the result is no-go. If the score is less than 80 or there are any corrective actions, an improvement plan is requested, and a conditional nomination as a supplier is done. Thus, supplier nomination can proceed if the PI score is 80 or above and there are no required corrective actions. In the action table, selection of action status is also controlled, such that the supplier cannot select the confirmed or cancelled options per finding. Only the auditor can select these, as well as the closure date. Once the auditor has defined all the closure dates, the corrective action can be considered done, and the audit can be saved and archived. If desired, signature fields can be added to the form. Currently, signatures are only supported in the mobile app, so to sign, the audit must be downloaded, signed, and uploaded back to the portal. Typically, one would want to define a custom export template of the audit for sharing and archiving purposes. Users with access to the form builder can do this in either Word or Excel format. Once the export template has been created, it is available to all auditors and can be exported as a PDF. Thanks for watching. If you need any assistance or have any questions, contact us at sales@poimapper.com.